Have you ever played video games? Over 65% of Americans do. Countries all over the world play video games. It is becoming a new language. But what makes gaming a multi-billion-dollar industry? Let's find out.
So my outlook on video games is that they're awesome. I really like video games, and my dad and my mom both think that video games are like, no, they think they're horrible. I think they're really fun, and a lot of other people think they're fun, so yeah. So the amount of video games that I usually play a week is about like 2 hours, about like that. Because I don't play video games during the week. It's only the weekend that I'm allowed to play them, and usually my parents don't even let me play them on the weekend. So it's like 2 hours a week if I'm lucky. You know, Xbox, I usually play that. That's mostly all that I play. Yeah. I think video games have changed the world because there's all sorts of different games out there that can have an influence on kids' lives, and also adults. You know, a lot of adults play video games too. So yeah.
I think that both my kids, my son and my daughter, probably play really too much video games. But we try to limit them as much as we can, and we put locks on their iPad and computers to make sure that they don't just play them whenever they want to, and they have to actually ask us to be able to play them. And we try to encourage them to do things other than electronics, like go whittle wood outside, build a fire, preferably don't burn the house down.
Okay, I was a child of the 80s. My friends and I would get together and play video games, and they were totally different than they are now. Video games when I was a kid, they were all the classics. Pac-Man, we had Centipede, Donkey Kong, Zelda, the first version, Pitfall. Those were all the games that I grew up playing, and they were basically 2D, and they were fun. They aren't anything like video games now. The video games now that I see kids playing are more realistic, more violent. They honestly have better storylines, but I don't think that they require as much imagination as when I was a kid, because you had to have an imagination to play Donkey Kong because it's a gorilla running up a ramp and throwing barrels at people.
Well, what I thought when I got Christian his first video game system, I thought it was going to be fun for us maybe to even play together. But I also knew it was going to be probably a little bit of fighting going on just about how much you could play it, and making sure that it wasn't abused. But it's also a good way to try to encourage Christian or your son to be doing positive things, and so give them sometimes play video games if they get their chores done and that sort of thing.
Okay, so now as a parent of a teenager, and video games have changed so much, Christian would love to play video games all day long if he could, but he can't. He has to get his homework done first. And what I noticed the most, I think the video games that he plays now seem fairly fun. Minecraft is probably most similar to what I grew up with, but the other games that he plays seem really fun. I think the storylines are really cool. I don't have any time to play video games, but if I did, I would probably play with him. What are you doing back there? And I would say that when he plays video games, if I tell him to stop to go do homework or go do other things, he's horribly grouchy. Aren't you, Christian? No! He's totally grouchy, but I probably was too as a kid. I just think that video games are fine as long as you limit the amount of time and you're not killing